Okay. What's up? I'm back. Do me a favor. As you come into looking at the video, hit that subscribe button. And at the end or at some point during the video, if you feel that you got value from anything that is being presented here today, please do me a favor. Share it on your various platforms. Greeting once again. My government name is Everett Parker Jr. I'm more commonly known as Chief Fear None Everlasting Arawak, President, Founder, and only member of the Universal Intelligence Agency. There's a lot to unpack there in that title and everything, but I'm not going to get into all of that right now because I'm actually on multiple platforms, so I'm kind of re-recording a lot of the same information, and I have a tendency to get long-winded and distracted and whatever. So basically, I'm going to try to be as straightforward as I can right now. Welcome to the channel. It's called Diary of a Resolution. And I came up with that concept because I wanted to be able to express my thoughts and pretty much my thoughts relating to the way this world is transitioning and what we, the good people of the world, could do about it, and also to provide insight into the solution to what our collective problem is, right? If let's say we set a goal for ourselves and we wanted to live in a better world, what would that look like and who would be in that world, right? That would mean that we would transcend barriers like racism, classism. Everyone would see the divinity in one another. We'd transcend third dimensional consciousness paradigm thinking, right? And everyone will have ascended to at least the fourth dimension of consciousness at the very minimum. And then with the ultimate goal where people could cohesively exist with one another, in the way that, let's say, you remember that song with the Beatles, A Dreamer? We can all live as one, or, like that song, that idealistic concept, or, let's say, fulfill the vision of Haile Selassie when he said, until the philosophy that holds one race superior and another inferior is finally permanently discredited and abandoned, where there's war. Like, until everybody comes to that realization where they arrive at unity consciousness, where they've transcended the ego and duality and all of that. Only under that condition could we realize, would it be possible for us to realize world peace? And alongside trying to reverse engineer tyranny and the other aspects and its various intricacies to dismantle or to assist in the dismantlement of the plans that these people, our social overlords and engineers, try to wield against us. And besides trying to broker peace among all members of the human species, and to show people that we basically have more in common than we think, and that it is more practical for us to unify and oppose those forces that are more of a danger to us than each other is, and to expose how it is to their advantage that we continue to oppose one another and do the exact opposite. Like, I personally am not inclined to give them what they want, so I literally position myself in such a way and move accordingly to give them as little energy as I possibly could as I navigate throughout this world, and encourage others to do the same and be that example for those other people. So, like I said, I don't want this to be too long, so I'm going to get right into it. AI is a tool that is useful in, helping you, like if you have an idea that you want to talk about or something that you want to find out about, well, helping you outline a particular course in explaining what it is you'd like to explain or even understand, as a beginning, so to put yourself in a position to explain, formatting it and, giving you the proper insight, things that would take many more hours, to collect the data. AI will not only provide the data, but, it'll do those other things to make it easier for you to put things into context. So that's what I did. I basically, using the Chinese DeepSeek model, provided a question to AI and asked it to provide as much insight into the subject and the various intricacies regarding, third, fourth, and fifth dimensional consciousness, and the slight intricacies between them, and to compare and contrast it, and instantly within seconds it came up with this response. So I'm going to give you the full context of the conversation right now, and you should share this if you find it interesting. Share it with your friends and family, because it could literally change the way they look at the world. Okay, so to begin, it says, "Greetings. I need an extended explanation from you, comparing and contrasting as many of the subtleties related to the third, fourth, and fifth dimensional consciousness theory. Would you break that down for me to improve my understanding of it, please?" And these things will literally give you a straightforward answer, as long as you know how to properly ask the question. So its response was as follows. Certainly, the exploration of third, fourth, and fifth dimensional consciousness is a fascinating topic that blends metaphysics, spirituality, physics, and philosophy. These concepts describe different levels of perception, awareness, and existence, often framed in both scientific, for example, string theory and relativity, and esoteric terms, for example, spiritual, awakening, and ascension. Below is a detailed breakdown comparing and, contrasting. I'm going from different pages. Whatever. I'm skipping on to the next thing. I actually feel like I'm missing an image. But one, third dimensional consciousness. One, physical reality. This is a breakdown of the different levels and the subtleties between third, fourth, and fifth dimensional consciousness, and breaking and comparing and contrasting. So we're working within those parameters there. And so we got physical reality in the third dimensional world is the tangible, material plane where we perceive with our five senses, length, width, and height. So, it's like what we see in front of us, like we can't perceive anything outside of that. So we miss a lot that's going on in terms of our learning and our awareness. Then it's also within the parameters of linear time. Time is experienced sequentially, as in past, present, and future. And then you have duality and separation. The way you think, perception is based on opposites, good and bad, light and dark, self and other, black and white, so on and so forth, tall and short. Identity is tied to the ego, so in order to ascend from this dimension onto the fourth and fifth, the dimension where, like I mentioned earlier, it's possible for people to live in a better world, to actually, because if you live in a fifth dimensional world with a lot of third dimensional people in there, it's going to keep drawing on the energy of the fifth dimension, because you're going to have all of these people with third dimensional mentalities ruining it for everybody else. But that's not, we're currently experiencing a shift where people are experiencing a shift in consciousness, so they naturally move into the fourth and fifth dimensional consciousness. And I'll explain that more in a second. I just want to stick to the script, where sometimes I have a tendency not to. But I just try to give you some context. So identity is tied to ego, individuality, and separation. So that's all low vibrational, third dimensional aspects of, and the majority of people on our plane of existence vibrate on that frequency right now, and the goal is to ascend. Cause and effect is the next thing. Actions in their belief system have observable consequences, like Newtonian physics, where an action, an object continues to maintain its state of motion until acted upon by an external force. That's the extent of your spiritual ascension at that point. Limited to Newtonian, perception of thinking. And it's all based on survival-based thinking too. Fear-based, focused on material needs, competition, and fear-based motivation, like money, security, and status. Because what's the reason you actually get up and go to work? I mean, really, is that not like you don't go to work because you love your work so much and, what have you. You go to work is basically fear-based, because the consequences from prolonged absence. You lose the stability that you worked so hard towards having, position you may have earned or whatever, because that's going to be frowned upon by your employer or your customers, or whatever way you earn money. And with the competitive-based thinking, which is lower vibrating anyway, in another way, you're locked. Basically, what I'm trying to describe is that we would go to that level of five-dimensional thinking, and therefore action, and we would carry ourselves that way. But because of the way the system is designed, it's designed to keep us in a prison of low-dimensional thinking, therefore vibrating, therefore acting, if you can follow that. So, like I said, cause and effect and survival-based thinking. So on to the next thing. The limitations of the third dimension in that aspect is limited perception beyond the physical, right? And difficulty comprehending higher dimensional concepts, which, to give you an example, timelessness, unity, consciousness, what have you, because I consider myself a five-dimensional consciousness person, right? I'm already, as an empath, naturally at a point, of unity consciousness, because I have an ability to place myself in someone else's shoes in terms of how they feel, knowing that everybody is the way that they are for a reason, right? So naturally, living in a third dimensional dominated existence, when I speak to people, it's going to be like I'm speaking Chinese, or as though I'm one of the adults in the Peanuts television series with Charlie Brown and Lucy and Linus and all of them, where all the adults, when they speak, they just like womp 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 womp. Like people cannot vibrate with what I'm dealing with. Like I'm usually dealing with love and with principles, and not and basically I live by a code, where uh, a lot of other people that I've been around, they're like, man, fuck that, let's snatch that shit, or let's get that motherfucker, or whatever. I'm hindered by reflection. I live by a code. I'm actually a true believer, and I've always been in, knowing my etheric connection to everything else that exists, and how my actions impact how many people might be impacted just from a simple action that I might perceive as simple, but it might affect a whole lot of people. So that limited me from performing, different nasty things, and selling my garment in this lifetime. I knew that as I began to know about natural law and things like that, like I knew that I wouldn't, karmically speaking, I'll never get away. That I'm subjected to the same laws, natural law that everybody else is, which are immutable and applies to everybody and everything. So as a spiritually developed individual, there are a lot of things that I wouldn't do that others would do. And vice versa. There's a lot of things that I would do that other people wouldn't do. So we don't resonate on the same frequency. So, but like I've already achieved that in my lifetime, and I naturally resonate on that frequency. But these people, they're limited in the third dimension by not having achieved that, and that's their challenge, right? But they're locked into this prison according to their likes and dislikes and wants, and basically not lacking moral virtue in different ways. They're either lustful or greedy, or fearful, or they're like how many different like deadly sins do they say there are? And there's probably even more than that hasn't been identified in the Bible, but probably in other cultural systems that I can't think of immediately, but that's not really important. You get the point. So the next thing is fourth dimensional consciousness that I'm about to break down, right? 4D consciousness. And here are the characteristics. That time, when you've achieved that stage, is fluid. Time is no longer linear, but experienced as a flexible, malleable construct, right? And that all these things are occurring at the same time. Past, present, and future. They may coexist, as in Einstein's theory of space-time theory, right? Okay, and then you got interconnectedness, which is the awareness of of all things, in humanity. I mean, in that's within our perception, like we're all one. It's the beginning of unity consciousness. Okay, you feeling me? Okay, next page. Interconnectedness, awareness of the web of life, beginnings of unity consciousness, though still filtered through the lens of individuality. So you're close, but you're not quite there, but you're ascending. And then you got non-physical realities. You got access to astral planes, dreams, and psychic phenomena. For example, precognition and remote viewing. I personally experienced all of that. Then you got emotional and energetic sensitivity. You get heightened intuition, and you build, a sense of empathy, a heightened sense of empathy, and awareness of subtle energies when you're a fourth dimensional person, right? You could see auras, and not see auras, but you can sense auras and collective emotions. You feel the collective emotions of individuals. And the transition from 3D to 4D is the awakening process, which all often involves, this is how you know that you're transitioning. It often involves questioning 3D constructs. For example, societal norms and, identity, or the identity you've been given, and then you experience increased synchronicities and feelings of deja vu, like you've had certain experiences before, and that in this cycle you might actually catch the lesson, this time. Like, didn't I learn this before? And okay, what, like you kind of put two and two together like that. But so deja vu and nonlinear experiences. Then the challenges include, emotional turbulence, because you're going through a lot, and you're making that change. So you got to do your shadow work. Like you, as your personality begins to evolve and you shed your own ways, you have to adopt new healthy ways, as you transition, into the, being a better person. So you're doing your shadow work, and you're kind of taking this transition seriously, but you haven't quite learned those lessons yet, but you're close, right? As the old paradigms of our third-dimensional consciousness dissolve. So the contrast to 3D is you're less rigid, and you have more fluid perception, and time is not a prison, but a tool. But that way of thinking still contains remnants of duality, and you still, well, I don't know, not according to this. Oh yeah, not actually. I went ahead of myself. It says still contains remnants of duality. Like you kind of, like I'm kind of in and out of those stages too, especially. A lot of times, like today, I was drawn back into the third dimension when I almost had to put hands on someone and become Old Testament, because I'm still, my reality is that I'm still in a third dimensional dominated type of world. Not enough people have made the change where they can have the emotional maturity to not resort to violence when resolving a dispute. And that's my reality. And if somebody come after me, like, I didn't come to suffer, I'm going to defend myself. And I have to, in a very decisive way. And if in the times when I'm faced with multiple opponents, I might have to be a bit vicious and brutal, which is, the first thing everybody's going to say is, I thought he said he was 5-dimensional dealing with love. But well, that's a whole other thing. Like I said, I got off subject, so let me continue with this. Okay, so you still contain remnants of duality, but with a growing awareness of the oneness. Like I said, that's my natural state of being. I love everybody and I want everybody to win, but at the same time, I have a natural affinity for my people, which I don't believe will ever go away because of the amount of injustices that have been committed against us. However, I'm willing to extend an olive branch to all other ethnicities, who have been confederate against us, historically speaking. Even to this day, experience prejudice from people from all other walks of life, including my own. You know what I'm saying? So it's disgusting, no matter who I receive it from. But I have to, having the vision that I have as a resolutionary, I have to excuse a lot of these people and have an exceptional level of objectivity and love for other fellow brother and sister to understand that everybody is the way that they are for a reason. So, like I have to have a higher level of restraint, but sometimes I don't, and I apologize for that because it is what it is. I, I even though I am uniquely qualified for the job, and I have a unique ability to be able to transcend barriers between people from all walks of life. I'm still a human being, and there's only so much at this point that that people can expect of me. Hopefully, I'll transcend those limitations shortly. But anyway, let me finish this up. I don't want this to be too long. So, you got a growing awareness of the oneness, right? And now we have the next one, which I'm gonna finalize with. It's the one we've been waiting for, fifth dimensional consciousness, and the characteristics are as follows. The number one thing is unity consciousness, where no separation between the self and others, because it's unity consciousness. It's you understand that all is one, and your ego dissolves. See, even though I said I'm there, I'm not quite there because I cannot purely, and it's almost impossible to be at that level with the reality and the state of being that the world is in right now, especially as someone like me who exposed myself to lower consciousness beings on a daily basis intentionally, with the intention of helping to raise their vibe. But what mostly happens is the spiritual vibe is so strong that they manage to pull me down sometimes until, if I can't maintain a state of remembrance of what I'm there for. You feeling me? But most people with the consciousness that I have don't do that. They don't make themselves vulnerable in that way, and that's understandable. First of all, a lot of them are not built for it. They could never walk in the worlds that I walk in, and it not change them permanently, and make them cross over to the dark side. Me not crossing over to the dark side after all I've been through and after all I've seen is could be considered a miracle unto itself. But the Most High has been with me the entire time. I suffered a lot of indignities, but not anything that I couldn't handle. So anyway, let me get back to what I was saying. So the fifth dimensional is unity consciousness, and all is one. Ego is dissolved into pure awareness. You feeling me? So I still have work to do. Where you have, and this is something that I'm currently experiencing right now, where you're in the pure creativity phase. Reality is co-created instantaneously through intention, because I live intentionally and I'm focused, and with every inch of my being, I'm trying to realize my intention into reality, and with a full spectrum approach to everything that I do, like considering everything, thinking everything through. So anyway, using intention, thought, and vibration, like quantum manifestation. I am in my quantum manifestation stage. The unconditional love thing, where it says I got to work on that, because a lot of my love is conditional. Like I don't, like you cross me, and I believe in justice. You know what I'm saying? So, one way or the other, I'm gonna get you. So I gotta work on that. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't like the people. I understand that they there for a reason, but once we've crossed paths like that, and you're done with me, and I'm done with you, because you intentionally tried to harm me. Well, there's no real unconditional love. Maybe to a limit, but that contains conditions. So I got to work on that. Fear and duality are transcended. The fear is transcended. The duality, like I already explained, is not transcended. I'm working on that. The non-locality, being everywhere at once, similar to quantum entanglement or holographic universe theories. Like some people say that our existence, like we exist in a holograph. And, there's other theories like that. So I've entertained, like I don't put my trust in, like I'm not going to exchange one golden cage for another in terms of philosophy. So there's lots of accounts of creation and, like how we exist and all types of stuff like that. And all I would do basically is consider it from a intellectual consideration, and I'm not going to promote certain things like that just because, it's something new and I'm like, oh, it must be true because I don't know everything about it. And it's mystical and satisfying for the moment. And it feels good to the ego. Like I got to check all the systems that relating to the existence of the presentation of this new information. And that's just simply protecting my energy. So let me wrap this up. Transition from 4D to 5D. It requires surrender of individual ego identity, right? That's simple enough to understand. Living in alignment with higher will versus personal desire. I got that pretty much licked. Mastery of thought as a creative force with no negative manifestations. That's a challenge for me because I have achieved mastery of thought as a creative force, but the no negative manifestations part, that's something that I actually have to learn some lessons in. But I'm just trying to, not saying that I've mastered all of these things myself, because I'm growing right alongside with you, but I'm trying to help provide a blueprint as to how we can set a goal and achieve these things, and basically. So here's the last page right here that I'm going to end with. The contrast with 4D. 4D is a bridge, right, that helps you transcend between 3D and 5D. And 5D is the destination in many models, right? And 4D still has traces of time and space. 5D is beyond them. 4D may involve psychic phenomena, and 5D is beyond that. It's just pure beingness. And then there's several graphs that I'm not able to share with you at this particular time. But I guess that's yeah. So that's about all that I'm willing to share at this particular time. But I shared all of that with you in this presentation because if you think along these lines that I'm trying to illustrate to you right now, that they've had a lot of information. When I say they, I'm talking about the hidden hand that controls this world, and the people who sit at the high table, that the Rothschilds and the 13 families and the Pope, all these people who kiss the feet of, who these people kiss the feet of, the black nobility, like in John Wick, when they went out to Morocco, and he went out to Morocco, and he, in order to get his pardon, he had to go to the high table and stuff like that. Well, a power structure like that actually exists, and it's a real complicated thing. I won't swear on it, but that's what I've traced it to. You know what I'm saying? And what these people have done was create a system where we all fighting each other where they're able to achieve what they achieve by basically creating these theatrics and these psyops to get the rest of the world to fight one another, while they possess the monopoly on knowledge, which knowledge is empowering, and they give us the wrong knowledge so that we can, in a very silly way, go on the wrong path to achieve the freedom that we so desperately want, right? We're doing this, and then they kind of reinforce it culturally. And the worst part is that they have the ways and means to do it, and that they make education compulsory. It's actually like a prison where we are our own guards, and we literally have conditioned us to get to the point where we love and embrace our own slavery. So we literally lock ourselves, the way this matrix is designed, into this lower vibrating frequency where we could actually end up doing better. But then when people start doing things that would free humanity of the burdens that keep us locked into this paradigm, we're usually reported and done away with by the very people that we're trying to help. So the system essentially in this way polices itself, and so very rarely, like, I'm speaking up against a lot. I'm known to tell a lot of inconvenient truths, right? Like things that nobody else that I know of speak about on the internet the way I do. I mean, there's a few other people like Rashad Jamal and, like other people. That's because, like, well, I can't speak for these other people, and a lot of them we've appeared at different times, and we just keep popping up all over the place, different versions of us, and the system is like probably overwhelmed like now, like where all these people coming from, all of a sudden. Like me, I personally been groomed by the universe to do what I'm doing. I tried to run away from my destiny over and over, and it just never worked. And the last 8 years was really intense, where I was going through the fire, and I was burning off those impurities. It was like a form of alchemy, and what emerged afterwards was like pure gold. You know what I'm saying? So in order to become the man that I am right now, where I done went through so much and my back is so far against the wall, now I'm like, what the fuck you gonna do now, Babylon? Like, the number one thing that I want to do now is hasten your downfall, and not just do that, but in the void of the power that exists after I help destroy you, I'm providing solutions, a framework by which humanity can fill that void, and an understanding, and and showing people the way that the path to living in a better world, where there's actually a better world, where we can manifest our highest ideals, where everybody could win, regardless. A lot of shit has gone on to get us to this point, and we can't change that shit now, but we can affect what we do today. Today, we can make the decision to live together and fight alongside one another against the ones that are truly our enemies, that have taken all of our birthrights away, and that are trying to get us to fight one another. Yet, sure, there are those that have stolen our inheritances and what have you. But then again, there are those that have helped them, and all of them motherfuckers got to get dealt with one way or the other. Either we show them the light, or we show them something else. We show them what we know, but we got to take over this realm. We got to, those of us who are good, who consider themselves good, who have values and, what have you. And the rest of them could just go eat a dick somewhere. Like we not worried about them. We not talking about them. We not doing their system. We doing our own little system. It's time for an American resolution, not revolution. A resolution is a revolution. However, it's got a different tone. It's got different energy. It's providing solutions. Inorganically, a corporate resolution is a condition in which the corporation, the members of the corporation, the board, or whoever unanimously decide to proceed forward in a particular direction. An organic resolution is what I'm proposing, one that is life-giving, and it supports life and it involves everybody, right? So that everybody could win, right? In the absence, because what they trying to promote in this corporate resolution that they got this revolution going on called the New World Order, they expect to create order out of chaos. And they presently setting us up for a new reset, a new reset, and which will take us back hundreds of years again. You remember what they did in the 1800s? We just finding out about it now. And the answers was right in front of our face. Imagine how much harder it'll be for us to remember the next time. This is our moment, man. And y'all acting so coward. Stop acting so coward and stop persecuting people like me, the messengers, I have not come to hurt anyone. I came to help us all, just like, and there's hundreds and thousands, perhaps millions more of us, and y'all are just ignoring us, and we don't have that much time. We already got enough enemies among each other, and I'm not asking anybody to physically unite and identify yourself. Just understand the message, and what we have to do is establish a singleness of purpose, a common direction in which we all want to head. And then individually we pull our muscles in the same direction. You ain't got to broadcast it and be all loud about it and protest and do all kind of... We just don't give them our energy. You feeling me? We much more powerful doing that than, whatever. Like, I'm fully divested from the system. The energy that you see me working on right now is solar energy. I'm in a shanty, in the bush. I grow my own food. I got my own water. I just go out there to earn money so that will support me to be able to feed my dogs and my cats and, myself, and, afford me the ability to satisfy more activities that would further what I'm doing right here. A very simple life, but I realize that, like, nobody's gonna, like, I have very few people that support me doing this. Everybody don't look at this as no job. Like, what do you do as a job on the side? It ain't no job on the side. This is my full-time occupation. This is the second platform today by which I'm saying, like, I was supposed to do this yesterday. You know what I'm saying? But then I'm making up for yesterday's work today. And then I got another platform to do explain this very same thing on another platform. And then, I got multiple platforms, so for each thing that I do, in order to reach different people that are on different things, I got to redo it. So the other one was like an hour and 30 minutes long. This one is 44 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So thank God for that. I'm shortening it. So with all that having been said, thank you for your indulgence, and I wish you a safe and enjoyable day. This has been my latest diary entry, which is, let me give you the date. Oh no, actually I can't give you the date because I don't have the date of the speech on hand. But I did, like I said, I did this yesterday. Oh yeah, I could kind of technically give you the date. Today's the 23rd. It was the 22nd when I did it. So with all that having been said, y'all have a safe and enjoyable day. like the video and share with your friends so that I could get exposed to as many people as possible. Like, I don't give a damn about making money or no shit like that. Like, if that comes, fine. But I'm just interested in doing the work, you know. And if you feel my message resonated with you, help me out. Share it. Love.